Hello, and welcome to another episode of Dumb Talks. I'm your host, Dan Mitchem. Today's guest is Joe. How's it going, Joe?
Hey Dan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you, brother?
Doing all right. Ready for the holidays to be over?
Yeah. And speaking of holidays, our topic today is going to be New Year's resolutions. Take it away.
Yeah, I firmly believe that it's good to have a New Year's resolution, but at the same time, we lie to ourselves.
Oh, yeah. I always like it's a line from a movie, but he's like, I like to not have any New Year's resolutions, and that way I don't fail them every year.
Yeah, it's like I'm Catholic, so we have to like give up things for Lent, and I always want to give up Lent for Lent, and I am told it's not allowed.
I know. What a bummer, huh?
Yeah, so many rules, too many rules.
How many New Year's resolutions that people make do you think people actually go through with? Every year you hear people and they're like, oh, this is my New Year's resolution. That's my New Year's resolution. And then February and the rest of the year comes by.
Oh, nothing happens.
Yeah, you never hear if they actually completed it or if it was just like a bunch of shit they were spitting out in January or what.
Like half the time, it's a bunch of shit just being spat out in January. I tell you.
Yeah, or I like the ones New Year, New Me, and then a couple days later they're being an asshole to someone. So it's like, well, that was short lived, wasn't it?
Unless the new them is being an asshole.
Yeah, then they fulfilled it right away. It didn't even take them the whole year to resolve that one. They did it in no time. Have you thought of your New Year's resolution yet?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna think about me as number one in my life. That's something that a lot of people don't do,
Yeah.
and it sounds super selfish.
You got to work on numero uno first because if you're not happy, then what you do in life isn't going to come across as happy either.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing that I want to do is get more stand up done. I'm just also afraid I'm not like cool enough. I still say lit.
Oh my God.
I don't know what year it is anymore.
Everything else is making a comeback, so why not bring out some old lingo? I'm trying to add in more British lingo, like use the word torch instead of flashlight
Ooh, yes.
or a brolly instead of an umbrella. I'm trying to make those more popular here in America. We'll see how that works.
You know, I do ask for a docket instead of a receipt.
Ooh, nice. Do you say you're going to the bathroom for a wank, or are you fapping, or what's your lingo on that?
Crying into myself.
Ooh, I like that one.
Going to the bathroom to wank is a sacred time.
You got to have candles and a little shrine with Christy Brinkley as the photo.
You light some incense, you find the best lotion that you can find around, and then you are good to go.
Everybody has their own methods.
That's another New Year's resolution right there. I'm going to discover new methods.
Well, I mean, you can find pretty much anything on YouTube. If I were you, Joe, I would personally type in different methods of fapping on YouTube and see what you get.
Probably an FBI warning. Well, for the new year, I am going to try to get stand up in. I actually started doing stand up when I was in college. It was a class that was offered at CSUN.
And when was college for you, just so people have a time frame?
I graduated 2014.
Cool. So that's when you started stand up. How did that all begin?
Was interested in taking a class. Professor Mitchell at CSUN. He was my playwriting professor, and he's like, you know, your stuff is really funny. You should try stand up. So he told me to take his class. Pretty sure he just wanted my money, but at the same time, it opened up a new world of stand up for me.
Have you done it a ton of times since then, or what?
I did it for a year. It was a good year for stand up. A lot of clubs were very kind to newcomers, so I appreciated that. A lot of clubs also wanted to scam you.
Of course.
Appreciated learning that going up for a 5 minute set is not worth $25.
When would you say is the last time you actually went out and did stand up?
Around this time last year, it was interesting because I feel comedy does better in the winter.
Why do you say that?
Well, it's colder in the winter. You need something to warm you up. So going to a nice comedy club, get a lot of laughter out. A lot of people are lonely this time of the year, so it's nice to have the familiarity of comedy and being part of something a little bit familial.
Yeah. Well, and I wanted to do stand up for a while, but I was too nervous and everything. And pretty much over the years, people were telling me left and right, hey, you should do stand up. You should do stand up. So I eventually did it and it was fun. I was shitting bricks until the second I got up on stage, and then I felt fine. And I think it was because I've done a shit ton of like plays in my life and I've done
Hmm.
karaoke. So I think I kind of just mentally thought, I was just up on a little tiny stage. And since then, I've done it 3 times. I'd love to do it more. I also see too, like Flappers in Burbank and a few other comedy clubs. You can do it online now. They have open mic night slots, so you would just sign up for it.
Oh, so like through Zoom?
Yeah, I think you do it on Zoom or something, so everybody just watches you and then applauds after and stuff like that. So, I mean, have you looked into that at
No,
all?
I didn't even know that was existing right now. It's really awesome how creative some places are getting to like stay afloat and continue their business.
Yeah, other people are doing karaoke on Zoom. Not to keep plugging them out or anything, unless they want to sponsor my podcast, then Zoom, Zoom, Zoom all the way. There's a bunch of things that people are able to do online. You can do trivia and karaoke open mic night.
Oh yeah, I've been doing weekly trivia that was hosted by a couple of friends of mine. That's been a lot of fun
Yeah.
to do on Zoom. Going back to stand-up comedy, you mentioned how terrified you were the first time you did it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about how terrified I was the time I went up after Jerry Seinfeld.
Ooh. When was this?
This was back in 2018.
Okay.
So I was at this comedy club in downtown LA and I signed up for an open mic night. They had limited availability. I was the last one to go up from the list. And I was like, cool, cool. Pretend I'm a headliner. Sounds good. And they told me that I had to wait for one more person to come in at last minute. They won't charge me for my time. And I was like, awesome. Preset, fine, let them go ahead of me. And that person was Jerry Seinfeld.
Ah. Obviously, he was terrible.
But he was trying new material. So he did bomb a bit. I'm not gonna
Oh,
lie,
wow.
it was interesting. Of course, he's also a comedic god, so he did fine overall.
Oh, yeah.
Watching a couple of his jokes not hit made me feel less nervous. So that's kind of why I like going glass is being able to see other comedians be so human.
Yeah.
Show that it's okay to be human on stage.
You're also an actor, though.
Yes, I am.
My question is, if you had to pick one or the other, would you be a stand-up comedian or just an actor? If you had to pick one or the other.
Honestly, I would be a stand up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feed off of live crowds. That's what I do best. When it comes to acting on camera versus acting on stage, I'll be acting on stage anytime because I like the danger. I like the excitement that anything can happen with a live crowd.
Okay, so new question. You're a stand-up comedian or a Broadway star?
Stand up comedian. That way I can tour.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to think of this too, because you and I are in a similar boat. Like, we've both done a ton of plays. We both have done stand up now. You, of course, have done it more than I. But yeah, I was trying to think of that too. I'm like, well, it would be fun being a stand up comedian. If I had to choose between that and movies, I might pick movies.
Movies are able to cast a wider net and get it to people a lot easier.
Yeah, well, and you can act shit out more. I mean, I
Hmm.
guess if you're doing stand up, you can act out certain characters, but then you got to change into different costumes and stuff.
You could do a one man show.
And that's the thing too. When I first was getting ready to finally do stand up and go up there, a part of me thought of that. There's no rules to stand up. Who's to say I don't get up with a friend and we just do like a 2-man vaudeville thing? There's no rules.
And that's what Jeff Durham essentially does is two-man vaudeville thing with puppets.
Yeah, maybe sometime soon you and I can do 2-person vaudeville thing.
Yeah, we'll, we'll break the scene.
So I hear you have a beautiful chili dog story to tell us.
My chili dog story.
Everyone take a seat, please.
Yeah, everyone go ahead and take a seat. Get ready for this one. I was in college. I was dating this lovely girl. I'm not going to say her name, but it was a lovely Jewish girl. It's important to know she's Jewish because she wanted to have sex with me. We were dating for a while, but she also wanted to keep her virginity. the laws of Judaism, I guess, sodomy is not considered a loss of virginity.
Okay.
So she asked me if we wanted to try anal, and yeah, which is absolutely yes. I was in college. This was my first serious girlfriend, and I was ready for action.
Yeah.
So we go at it. We're trying it out, and we're going. We get to the end.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. We get to the end. She's sitting on top of me. She stands up. You can almost hear a popping sound, just like a cork coming out of a pistol. And then a Nickelodeon slime swoosh right onto me. But it says slime, it's shit.
Did you say the word of the day?
The word of the day was, oh no. The phrase of the day was, we need to burn this blanket.
So you got a hot lunch at the same time.
Yeah, it was great. I call it the chili dog incident, mostly because it literally turned me off of chili dogs.
I was going to say we should go to Wiener Schnitzel after this.
I have one 2 blocks away from where I live. I will gladly take you there and tell you it while you were eating. Let me convince the Wiener Schnitzel to do open mic.
You could too, because a lot of their seating is just outside. So you could just set up a little stage outside.
They actually serve alcohol at the Wiener Schnitzel by my house.
What?
Yeah, they serve beer.
Are you by the one on Laurel Canyon or what?
No, I live in Burbank. I'm sure the people listening to this aren't from California, are loving the city centric.
I'm sure the people listening in from California are like marking down. They're like, "Ooh, Burbank Wiener Schnitzel, got it." I didn't know they served alcohol. That's funny.
You could get a shake and a beer at the same time.
A beer shake.
A beer shake. Ooh.
You're afraid of chili dogs now, but you're still going to do stand up. Are you going to keep that joke in your stand up when you are doing these in the new year?
One of my favorite jokes, so keeping that one in. I do talk about my misfortunate sex life. Right now, I'm practicing accidental abstinence. Growing up, I wanted to be a priest until I learned what abstinence was, and then I was like, "Oh no, why? Sorry, God."
Just change your religion, get married, and then switch back to being Catholic and be like, "Hey, what I did was in the past. You can't hurt me for that."
It seems like a simple 12-step program.
I mean, the first step is admitting that you have a wife.
I think when it comes to the new year, remember that we put a lot of heft to it, so maybe we should lighten up a bit.
Yeah, I think everybody should do the whole New Year, New Me and actually adhere to it for the whole year.
Give it a try.
Give it a 30-day trial. If you don't like it, you can go back to being a bitch
Or an asshole.
or an asshole. So yeah, New Year's resolutions, do more stand-up. I'm right there with you, man, because I got to do some more stand-up too.
Yeah, hopefully the clubs could get open, or maybe we could join one of these Zoom sessions or host our own.
Instead of riding in cars with comedians, we're talking to comedians online
About chili dogs.
about chili dogs. Thank you, Joe, for being on my show, and I look forward to bringing you back to talk about other foods that you're going to make sound terrible to me.
Thank you for having me.
And that's Dumb Talks. Thanks again for listening. Be sure to subscribe at the bottom for future episodes. Who knows? Maybe I'll be talking with you next.